If the root is holy, so are the branches. And you now understand this image that from a few righteous people out of Israel, from a few people who are justified, who are sanctified by Messiah, we can conclude for the whole nation. That's what Paul says here. At least how God sees the whole nation. And then in verse 17 he goes on, but if some of the branches were broken off, and you who are a wild olive shoot were grafted in among them, and has become a partaker, shareholder in the root and the fatness of the olive tree, do not be arrogant towards the branches. But if you boast, if you are proud, remember, it is not you who supports the root, but it is the root that supports you. I think this is one of the earliest passages in Christian literature, at least I know of, that indicates that there was on the Gentile Christian side something like a pride towards the Jewish people. And Paul appeals to the sense of reality of these Gentile readers in Rome. He says, humility in this case is not a Christian virtue, not even a fruit of the Holy Spirit. It is in other circumstances. But here, in this case, if we stand in our relationship with the Jewish people, it is very simply a testimony to having a healthy eye for reality. The root is carrying you, Gentile believers, in Messiah Yeshua. And Paul builds his whole argument throughout chapters 9 to 11 of his letter to the church in Rome on this insight that this relationship between Jew and Gentile within the church is something that the Jewish people has something. He says in Romans 8, we long for the standing as a son, for the sonship, for the adoption. Israel has it. Or in Romans 5, he said, we boast the future glorious presence of the one true living God. And in Romans 9 verse 4, he says, Israel has the glory. And it comes over and over again. Actually, we can go back into the Bible. Remember this Samaritan woman that Yeshua met there on Jacob's well between these mountains, Gerizim and Ebal, next to what we call today Nablus. At that time it was called Sichar, and in earlier times Sichem, Shechem. And Yeshua reminds the Samaritan woman, salvation comes from the Jews. And he says that to this woman, even though she recognized Yeshua, Jesus, as Messiah, long before the majority of Israel. Paul makes very clear that Israel is the key to revival for the Gentile world. And we are only partakers, shareholders. We are partners in the root and in the sap of the olive tree and in its fatness. So if Christians think they are better than Jews, if they think, there's a feeling that Jews have to get something we have, it shows that Christians are blinded. It's simply a testimony to our perception of reality, to our open eyes, if we as Gentile believers in the one true God treat the Jewish people with respect and appreciation. So it's not a question of, I'm not yet there that we are deeply in love, that we are absolutely excited about Israel or Jewish tradition or what the Jews have. I'm talking about the question of boasting. of being proud. And if we as Christians have this attitude, looking down on Jews, know it all, then this first and foremost is a testimony to our personal blindness to God's action and to the reality of God, to the reality He is working in. You just need to be sober. You just need to be realistic, to be very, very humble.